Well, ladies and gentlemen, after the disappointment at the end of yesterday's episode, we are back today for the review of our first season in charge of Manchester United. We're going to have a look through how we did. We're going to have a look at the squad and what we might need to do. And then we're going to do the summer transfers in this episode. So first of all, let's get straight into the season review and the new arrivals. So as we can see, I mean, unsurprisingly, Ward-Prowse is going to have won signing of the season. The board are relatively happy with him due to his lower wage. I'm more happy to him due to the fact that all in all, even with add-ons, he's going to cost us £57 million. But he's made 8 goals, 23 assists. That alone is worth the money in my book. We've then got Robert Lewandowski. Board again, they're content with him. 14, just under £15 million, 25 goals in his 31 and 2 substitute appearances, and 8 assists to his name as well. We then got Fikayo Tomori for £57 million. Once again, 8 goals, all from corners, I'd imagine, and 4 assists. He's had a really good season. Diogo Costa, he's only actually made 1 appearance, so we'll just kind of skip over him. Jamal Musiala, £53 million from Bayern Munich at 20 years old. He's made 39 starting appearances. He's got 16 goals and 15 assists this season. Brilliant as well. Upamecano, another one, being a very, very big part of this season. Max Aarons, of course, maybe less than we thought he would be, but he's been a fairly big part. Donnarumma, they are very, very unhappy. We've got a D, giving him the player a wage issue for his place in the squad. He's the first choice goalkeeper. £70 million, 56 appearances, and a 7.15 rating, and we're saying that it's too high for his place in the squad. He's getting playing less than Ronaldo, and Ronaldo is doing substantially less, in my opinion. Justin Kluivert, obviously 9.25 million. He's made a really good contribution for that money. 10 goals in his 19 and add-on appearances, so 28 in total, 27 in total. Maths. And his 9 assists as well. Luke Thomas, another one, 26 appearances this season. Sandro Tonali, obviously our main defensive midfielder, with his 32 appearances, 4 goals as well. We've then got Yuri Telsman, who we got for £21 million, 7 goals to his name. Kaiki from Santos for 12.5 million. He's made 12 appearances, 5 off the bench, most of them coming at the end of the season. Rodrigo, they are very disappointed with the deal to sign Rodrigo, both due to the transfer fee and the players' wages. He did cost us £36.5 million, and he hasn't actually made that many appearances, so I can agree with that. Dybala, obviously we got him on a free, 16 appearances, 32 in total, only 6 goals. He was a bit of a miss-buy, I think, to be honest. Let's have a look then. The Premier League. They wanted us to challenge for the Premier League. At the start of the season, that was finished top 4. We then adjusted that midway through the season to get a little bit more money for the January transfer window. And we had to challenge for the Premier League. So we ended up, of course, after the end of yesterday's episode, drawing with Manchester City on points, but losing out on goal difference, meaning we finish in 2nd place. We're quite far ahead of the other teams behind us, but our 5 losses to their 3 are what end up making the difference here, and the fact that they've just conceded less goals or scored more potentially. As we can see, there's not a lot of losses in there. We had a really, really good run all the way through the season, right up until the final day. The Europa League, of course, we expect to reach the final. We ended up winning that. The top goal scorer being Cristiano Ronaldo. He played a bit more in that. A 3-1 win against Milan in the final. We can see we didn't even drop a point all the way through this, not even a draw. We just won every game we were in. The FA Cup, then they wanted us to reach the semi-final. We ended up winning that one as well, with the 3-0 win in the final against Everton. And in the Carabao Cup, not important, but we did end up winning that one as well. So the 3 trophies for this season. Moments to remember, the biggest win is in the Europa League, where we won 9-2 in a match, but that's kind of expected. It's a really small team, isn't it, comparatively compared to Manchester United. The match to remember was a 6-0 win back in February against Southampton. And then goal of the season came from Fernandes in the 31st minute. I'm not sure if we can just quickly go and have a look at that one. Just load that up and we'll have a look and see what this 31st minute goal was like. So it starts with a throw in Ronaldo to McTominay, as we can see Dalot on the ball, Fernandes just cutting inside, picking his spot. And yeah, that is effectively a very, very good goal of the season there against Leicester back in November. Finances, we're saying that success definitely helped the club's finances. The club's reputation hasn't changed over the past season, but our sponsorship has increased by a couple of £1 million. Our broadcast revenue has gone from £11 million last season to 90 million this season, so definitely helped there. Corporate and hospitality, of course, has gone up as well. Apparently we didn't have any last season. I'm guessing that's partly to do with the database we're using, so that will make a bit more sense next season. Competition prize money, we actually got less. I'm not sure how. I'm guessing because we're in the Europa League and not the Champions League is the only thing I can think. We got almost £5 million in matchday commercial and retail, and we can see shirt sales, Lewandowski, Ronaldo, Ward-Prowse, Musiala and Dybala. So the only one of those five that didn't get brought in this season, of course, being Ronaldo. And this is what we're looking as our best lineup for the season. Donnarumma in goal, Telles, Tomori, Varane, Dalot, McTominay, Fernandes, Ward-Prowse, Musiala, Sancho and Lewandowski. It's quite close to the truth. Fernandes absolutely wouldn't be in there. Telsman would be in there instead. And then here would have been Tonali. But globally, it's quite close to what we've used, which is nice. We won the Premier League Manager of the Month for October and for February. And we can see fans player of the season, Ward-Prowse. The young player of the season at 24 years old is Diogo Dalot. We've then got the signing of the season we already saw was Ward-Prowse. Goal of the season we just saw. Top goal scorer is Lewandowski with 25 goals, which, remember, he did only come in January, so he had half the amount of time as everyone else to score those goals. Ward-Prowse is top of the assist charts with 23. Most player of the match awards is Ward-Prowse as well, as is the average rating. And Sandro Tonali is completing the most passes in the match. Record breakers then, most assists by player in the season. Now 23 by Ward-Prowse is a record. The most clean sheets by a player in the season with 33 is won by Donnarumma. We've then got the most player of the match awards in a season, 9. And the worst discipline is McTominay with his 10 yellow cards. So I think the fans seem pretty happy with that. I think the board seems pretty happy with that. From my part, not so much. Did anyone get added in? Yeah, we got a few players. 11. Oh, Jesus. 11 players have been considered good enough to enter the Man United overall best 11. I guess that's because it's a start, so we just get everyone. So basically what we just saw is the best 11, more or less. Season review we've just done. Challenging for the Premier League title 3 years ahead of schedule. And let's see what they want us to be doing for next season then. Basically, for the next 5 years, work within a wage budget and minimum 4-year contracts for first-team players. Fair enough. Play attacking football and entertaining football. Use the youth system. They want us, end of next season, qualify for the Champions League. Or is that this season? This always confuses me. No, that must be this season. Champions League reach the semi-final. Fair enough. I can kind of live all this. They want us to be winning the Premier League by the end of the 26-27 season. I am more than happy to agree to that. Donnarumma there as well, winning the Golden Glove this season. We're just going to congratulate him on that. And we've got Donnarumma and Cristiano Ronaldo in the Premier League Team of the Year. Ronaldo should not be in there. Lewandowski not being in there, but Ronaldo being in there is ridiculous. Everyone else being Manchester City players is also ridiculous in my opinion. We'll do all that in a minute. What we're going to do now is have a look at the squad depth. So I'm going to change this to a minability of 2 stars. We're going to add all the squads in, and we should as well. So we will have players that are loaned out here available to be able to be seen. So starting with the goalkeeper, we've got Donnarumma, we've got De Gea, and I've got Dean Henderson coming back in, as well as Diogo Costa. De Gea wants to leave, so De Gea will be leaving this summer, unless, again, we can't get anyone to bid for him. The left-back position, we've got Telles and we've got Thomas. I think we need somebody else there. Is Ethan Laird the man to do it? Possibly, but I would think he's probably not quite. He is Premier League standard, so maybe we just have him as a bit of a backup. How old is he? 21 years old. Potentially we just keep him in the squad, but I'd like to have an improvement over on left back. If that means we get rid of Telles and we bring in someone else, I'd be fine with that. We've then got Varane, Tomori, Upamecano and Kaiki. We definitely need somebody else as a centre-back. Over on the right, we've got Dallo, Max Aarons, Brandon Williams. I'd kind of be okay with that, I think, this season. I don't think we need to do too much at right back. In defensive midfield, we don't play Ward-Prowse. We've basically got Tonali and McTominay. Potentially James Garner, but again, is he really good enough for this team at the moment? Possibly not. In midfield then, Fernandes, Ward-Prowse, Talisman. That's kind of it. So we probably need another central midfielder. Over on the left, Musiala. Sancho doesn't play this side. Ronaldo, we will obviously be keeping unless we can offload him, but that seems unlikely to be able to. Marcus Rashford, I think, can probably go if we need him to. He hasn't been outstanding this season. We're having a list: 13 appearances, 2 goals. If we're looking at all competitions overall for the club, he's made 8 appearances in the starting 11, 14 from the bench, and he's got 2 goals, no assist, nothing. I think it's possibly time for Rashford to go if we can get a bid for him. And then over on the side, we've also got Rodrigo. I think Hannibal, definitely at the age of 20, so we don't even have to register him. Hannibal will be back in the side this season. Anthony Elanga, we might keep him at the club as well, potentially. And potentially Palestri. We've got a few over on that left side, so I don't think we need to worry about that. Over on the right hand side, we've got Sancho. We've got Dybala. I don't think Dybala stays here this summer either. He is listed 20 appearances and 2 goals in the Premier League. Overall at the club, he's made 16 starting appearances, 16 from the bench, 6 goals. I just don't think that's good enough for the amount of money we're playing him, so I think he probably goes this season as well. We've then got Cliver, of course. We've got a few of these players that can play down here, so I think we're all right over that side as well. Up front, of course, Lewandowski. That's kind of it. We've got Ronaldo who can play there. I think Dybala goes. I think Rashford goes. Martial will be going. But we do already have a couple of transfers that I did in the middle of the season. So let's have a look at those ones that are already completed. In terms of the attacker, Benjamin Sesko coming in, of course, from Salzburg. If we have a look at him at Salzburg this season, 29 appearances and 15 goals. He is going to be a very, very good deputy to Lewandowski, and I think we paid 14.25 million for him. So at 19 years old, again, he's another player we don't have to register. He's going to be the backup to Lewandowski. He can hopefully get some decent playing time off the bench as well. I think that's absolutely fine as our backup. In defence then, we've got Nianzou. I'm assuming you say it like that. Nianzou from Bayern Munich. We've had to pay a bit of money for him. He's going to come in as the defensive midfielder. The fact that he can cover at centre-back, though, is quite good. Now, obviously, at the moment, his ability isn't great, but he's got a bag of potential there. We have paid £14.5 million, which could go all the way up to 80 million. I'm aware that's a lot of add-ons, but it was a cheap way of getting him. We've then also got a midfielder, Angelo, who's coming over. He's a Brazilian, I believe, wonder kid. Is he still showing up as a wonder kid? He is, over on that right-hand side. So it's another one at the age of 18. We can keep in the squad potentially if we need to. Our analyst is saying that he's already Premier League standard. So we've got another one over on that right-hand side that can join us this season. Now, we need to go away and sort out the transfers for the summer. The main thing here is, what is our target going forward? I am not happy at losing out to the Manchester City team in the Premier League this season. So, originally when we started this series, it was let's win some trophies. We've done that. We've won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup and Europa League in our first season. That is a lot of trophies. Beautiful stuff. From here, though, the goal is going to be to win the quadruple. Now, the quadruple for me is as follows: the Premier League, the Champions League, which will be there instead of the Europa League, the FA Cup, and one other trophy in the season. That can be the Carabao Cup, that can be a Cup Winners' Cup, that can be the Charity Shield, any of that stuff, but 4 trophies, of which 3 of them need to be the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League in the same season. We're going to go for 5 seasons, so 4 more seasons to go, or until we do that quadruple. If we do that quadruple in the second season, that's it, end of the series. This will go up on Patreon, as it always does at the end of a series, for you guys to continue, share your stories with me. If you want to continue on with this save, that would be great. But that is going to be the plan from here on out. And now we need to go get those summer transfers done so we can make that dream and target a reality as soon as possible. So we have had a few ins and a few outs in the summer transfer window. Nothing too dramatic in the grand scheme of things, but this one is quite a big deal. I said if we got a decent sized bid for him, we would sell him, and that is Marcus Rashford going over to Chelsea. Now, ideally, we wouldn't have wanted to sell him to a rival, but there was literally no other clubs in for him. And by selling him to Chelsea, we managed to get £45 million. He wasn't really fitting in with our tactics. He wasn't really performing, and it definitely felt like time to sell him. Also on the outside, we can see here we've had some releases. Donny van der Beek has gone over to Valencia for £20 million. We also lost Garnacho, who's obviously one of our youth prospects. He's gone over to Aston Villa. That was mainly just because he was being a whiny git and wanted to leave, and it was annoying me. We then had Anthony Martial as well. He's gone over to Inter Milan, making that loan he was on last season permanent for £8.25 million. That, in the grand scheme of things, is basically it. The rest of it, there's some minor transfers out for some youth players, and there are some loans. The main things then is looking at the players that came in. Now, we've obviously already seen Benjamin Sesko. He's going to be here this season. Our next signing after that was Milinkovic-Savic. Now, I said we needed a midfielder. I think everyone pretty much who's played Football Manager knows of SMS, and we've brought him over to United for £60 million from Lazio. We can see last season 32 appearances, 9 goals and 2 assists for the Italian team. I think he's going to be a big part of any success we have this season. He can obviously play as a box-to-box midfielder. Now, I think we're going to be keeping Ward-Prowse in that box-to-box midfielder role, but he can play next to Ward-Prowse as the central midfielder on attack. That then means we got Tielemans as our backup central attacking midfielder, that slot there. We've got McTominay still here as well, so we've definitely got a little bit more depth there now. We also, I think we saw him earlier, brought in Nianzou, of course, from Bayern Munich. We've then brought in, just because we needed an additional body as a centre-back, Matt Hummels. Now, obviously, he's getting on a bit. He's 34 years old, but we paid £7 million for him. I'd say we paid £7 million for him. We paid about £4 million up front, with all the rest being additional fees. For example, £2 million if he plays 50 games for the club over the course of his contract, which actually is probably quite unlikely. He's come over and agreed to be a squad player. I think he'd be absolutely fine to fit that role, and it just gives us another body in defence when we do need to rotate. And then the other position we were talking about strengthening was the left back position. Now, we've done that by bringing in a Josie guy up from Valencia. He cost us £75 million. That was legitimately the best left back we could find at the lowest price. So, for example, we had a look at Alphonso Davies over at Bayern Munich. Great. Absolutely would like to have him. He's a lot younger. He's got better potential. I don't want to pay £175 million for him, though. This was a deal that was £100 million cheaper than that, and I think is someone that's perfectly capable as a player to nail on as our first choice at left back. I've used Josie Gaia couple of FMs ago in FM20 when I did a save with Valencia, and he was fantastic. Hopefully he's still as good in FM22 now he's over at Manchester United. That's basically it. We can see there were no ins after the end of June. We're obviously mid-August now. We didn't have any transfers in July. I don't think we necessarily needed any more transfers. We've got £36 million still in the bank. It basically means as well that our squad, if we go have a look at our squad depth now, it looks a bit better. In fact, we're not going to do it like this. We're going to do it by looking here, and I'll have a look at this. So if we do this, we'll have a look at our goalkeepers first. So we've got Donnarumma, we've got De Gea, we've got Dean Henderson. We do have Diogo Costa as well. He's only 23, so he's actually in the under 23s at the moment, just because that will give him a bit more game time. He's going to be obviously the first person on the team sheet by being in the under 23, so we've kind of put him there. But we've got these 3 goalkeepers. De Gea obviously still listed. No one is interested, like not even remotely, so not a lot we can do there. For defenders then, if we do this by position, we've got Brandon Williams, Max Aarons and Diogo Dalot over on the right hand side. That's absolutely fine. Brandon Williams wants to leave the club, but equally every time we get a transfer fee for him, he wants a massive payoff, so he's probably going absolutely nowhere. In the centre of defence, then we've got Upamecano, Tomori, Matt Hummels, Varane and Kaiki. Absolutely fine with those 5. Over on the left, we've then got Josie Gaia, Luke Thomas and Alex Telles. Again, absolutely fine with those 3 there. In defensive midfield, again, most of these are players that can play in defensive midfield, but probably won't. So we've got Tonali that can play there. We've got McTominay and we've got Nianzou. Absolutely fine with that. Central midfield then, again, we've got lots of players who can play there, probably won't. We've got Telsman, Ward-Prowse, McTominay, Milankovic-Savic, Bruno Fernandes, all can play there. Hannibal can also slot in there if we need him to. So I'm absolutely fine with our depth there. Attacking midfielders then. So over on the left, we would have Rodrigo can play there, Ilanga can play there, Hannibal can play there, Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course Musiala. Over on the right hand side, we've then got Jadon Sancho, we've got Diallo that can play there. Rodrigo can play there as well. Cliver obviously can play there. So I think we're fully stocked over there as well. And then up front, we've basically got Lewandowski, Sesko, and if we need him, Ronaldo can play there as well. Although he is listed, he's wanting to leave the club. He's only listed for £8 million as well, because that's what we agreed to, because again, he's being a whiny git and wanting to leave the club because he didn't get enough game time, and we won't give him another contract. That's a bit of an obscene one. He's angry we won't give him a contract. Can we just appreciate this man after playing, what, 28 games last season? Absolutely fine. No issues with that. You're on £475,000 a week. Don't come crying to me about wanting another contract. Seriously, sit down, be quiet. If we can get rid of Ronaldo, absolutely fine. He's 38 years old. We're paying him an obscene amount of money. So if he wants to leave, I'm absolutely fine with that. With the transfers done though, we have got obviously a few more weeks. Some more transfers may happen, but we are at the start of the season. And the matches that are going to happen, which will now happen in Wednesday's episode, which is the next episode, will be these 2 matches where we can start off potentially building towards that quadruple for this season. So we've got a Community Shield match against Manchester City and a Super Cup match against Liverpool, who obviously won the Champions League by the looks of it last season. 2 massive matches against 2 English teams. Those are what we're going to start with. We have then got Liverpool on the first day of the Premier League, but I don't want to stretch the episode to 3 games. Both of those happen quite close together. Hopefully we win one of them. That then clears 25% of our quadruple we want to do. We've then got to win the Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League this season to hit that quadruple target. No pressure whatsoever. If you have enjoyed today's episode, you're excited for the next one, you think the transfers were great, then please do drop a like down below the video. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button as well. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers on the channel. That's the current goal. Want to hit that in an ideal world before FM23, even better world by mid-September. So if you haven't already subscribed and you can help me out with that target, it would be really appreciated. Drop me a comment down below as well. Let me know what you think about the transfers in this episode. What have we done right? What have we done wrong? What would you do instead? And until then, thank you very much for watching. Check out the video on the screen now. I will see you on Wednesday's episode for our 2 matches and hopefully the beginning of our success towards our quadruple with Manchester United. See you there. Bye-bye.